Are you struggling to communicate with your couples or not sure how to do it? Well, today I'm going to be talking to DJ Stardust about her upcoming books and communicating with couples. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Wedding Songs Podcast, featuring newly released songs you need to know and the tried and true classics. Get song ideas from the time guests arrive until the last dance of the reception. And now your host, Matt Campbell, founder of MyWeddingSongs.com.
On today's show, we have a very special guest, Stephanie Rivkin, also known as DJ Stardust. She is from Royal Beach DJ Service, located in Connecticut. But just like most DJs today, she's a traveling DJ. She'll go to Las Vegas. She'll go to Cancun. So welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here to talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, we have some left turns, but also I definitely want to talk about your upcoming books as well. But before we get started, let's talk about an icebreaker question, and that is a unique wedding moment that you had as a DJ.
Okay. So something that really stands out to me is when I was still young and new at weddings as a DJ, there was a fight at the wedding during the reception, and the father of the bride screamed at me. He said, "Turn down the effing music." And I was like, like halt. And then there was a physical fight breaking loose, and they were getting closer to my speakers, and I was freaking out because, like, what do I do? It was actually somebody that I knew's wedding as well, so we've never spoken about it since. It would have made great content these days, but that back then we didn't have like TikTok and Reels, and there's nothing to see here. But it really gave me a different perspective on all the different personalities at weddings, and how it's a celebration, but also you have to remember that while it's a celebration for the couple, there are really mixed emotions out in the crowd, so anything can happen. You're reading the crowd musically, but you also kind of have to see if anything is, like, any vibes are off, like, is the mother of the bride having a bad day? Is, like, what's the situation? You got to read the whole room, not just the music.
Well, exactly. If tensions are getting high and you're throwing down AC/DC Thunderstruck, may not be the right time to play that.
I think DJs like to be creative and funny when we drop songs, but to be honest with you, at a high emotional moment like that, it's really not my job to be funny and clever and, hey, make this moment about me. The father of the bride is really upset. It's like a big deal. And while these days I can imagine what certain people would do, I'm glad I did just stay silent and wait for the moment to pass, which it did. And then the party resumed, but the vibe was off and different, and, a lot of people trickled out. But that's definitely something I will always remember, is that, as a DJ, there's a lot to consider that day. We're putting out fires everywhere from the beginning of the ceremony to the end of the reception, where that's another really unfortunate moment that I remember. If I talk about it real quick, I saw a mother of the bride just destroy the bride at the end of a wedding, calling her the B word, telling everybody to get the F out. Not that I do these low-end weddings. It's not that I'm in, like, these terrible environments. These are really classy weddings. These are really classy people. What happens is the emotions run high, the alcohol flows, and all of a sudden the mother of the bride has lost her mind, and she can't contain everything she's been containing all day, and now this poor bride has just had the best day of her life, and the mother of the bride is just sucking the life out of the balloon that the bride was holding, and she loved that balloon, and the mother of the bride was like, "Pop." So, again, we always think about these as the best days of people's lives, but anything can happen.
Well, and I've had this on the podcast before. We're kind of therapists at times, too, trying to intermingle the family dynamics. So crazy.
It became part of me asking during our meetings beforehand, is there any weird family dynamics I should know about that, might be relevant on the day of, that we could try to avoid saying certain things or playing certain songs, or how can we navigate these uncomfortable relationships that we know we're going to encounter that day. Sometimes people don't want to tell me anything, and sometimes they're like, you should hear the stories, and I'm like, you know what, let's talk about it, because the more I know, right?
Absolutely. Before we go any further, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. My name is Stephanie Rivkin. I am out of Connecticut. I've been in business. This is my 16th year. I started off as a karaoke host, although I did have a background in wedding and meeting planning, both in hotels and on yachts. I also had a stewardess and cooking experience experience on yachts. So I've come from places where there's big wow moments, and there's customer service, and there's anticipating needs, and there's going above and beyond and doing the unexpected before it's asked, and just, all of those things were a really cool translation into my business as a DJ. But really, I was just a little karaoke singer, and somebody asked me to host a gig one night, and the next thing you know, I'm 16 years in business. God only knows where the time when I was supposed to be a school teacher, and I also wanted to be a travel agent. So the traveling DJing thing is amazing. I wanted to be a teacher, so now being a speaker and an author is actually it's all my dreams and goals in life when I was younger, all coming to fruition now as a DJ, which wasn't even part of the initial plan.
I think that's fantastic that even though you're not a teacher today, you've got into the hospitality that you have to meet your customers' needs and going above and beyond.
I mean, to me, it's just second nature, but I think a lot of people aren't used to DJs having customer service. DJs have a terrible reputation for the most part. Not only are we seen as unreliable, we're cheesy, we don't know when to shut up. There's a lot of things said about DJs. So coming into it from a planning and meeting perspective really gave me a leg up on my competition here in Connecticut to an extent, because I was now offering these sit-down meetings like I did when I was doing BEOs at the hotel, where we all had these big meetings and conferences and everybody had to get on the same page. There's these other unfortunate, incidences that happen that really just give you another perspective on how to deal with future clients, because all of these, as we're learning on the job, are information we're going to take forward so we can navigate those kind of situations better if they should occur again.
And that's a really great transition into talking and working with today's couples. When it comes to their music and their entertainment, what are they most concerned about that you're seeing?
They want to make sure that I'm not going to deviate from what they're asking me to do. So whether that is for me to do my thing, or for me to just play original edits of music, or they don't want me to chop it up like a club DJ. They really want to be specific about what they want, and they want you to promise and then deliver on your promise that you're going to do what they want you to do and what they're hiring and paying you for, because not only is their money a little bit tighter than, it was a few years ago, but this is their day, and they don't want some DJ just going rogue. So I'm finding that they're very specific. They might not want traditions. They might not even want a wedding party. And I'm always looking forward to my couples evolving what the wedding process looks like. I like it when the timeline doesn't look just like last weekend's timeline or the one from the day before. So I like when my couples are onto new trends and everything. So what I notice about young couples is they're specific. They know what they want. They know if you can DJ your ass off or if you're just, a show DJ. And they want you to do your job, all of it, everything that it entails. And if you don't, not only are they going to write you a really bad review, but they're going to tell everybody about the experience, because that's what they do. They share everything on TikTok, WhatsApp, Snapchat. They're going to tell everybody everything. So you better impress these younger couples who are young, but it's their way or the effing highway, and I'm happy to do it their way.
Well, and in the DJ community, we always say, this is my fourth wedding of the month, but you have to realize, too, that this could be the couple's fifth wedding as well. It goes on both sides, and, like you're saying, they want to make sure that what's going to go down is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I like to ask my couples, have you been to a lot of weddings before? And if their answer is yes, what were the moments that stood out the most? What was absolutely cringeworthy? And what do you hope to never, ever see or hear at your wedding? Because those are the most important answers, not what song should I mix together and what 4-song medley should I do and what wordplay. Not that. What does this couple want and what do they not want? And then listen to them. Really listen. It's not about your playlist. It's not about how good you're going to mix their songs. It's how is this couple going to feel on this wedding day as you transition from cocktail to reception to dinner to dancing, all of these little things that are yeah, they are going to happen, but are you going to make it memorable? Or are you just going to, announce, okay, next we're having dinner, next we're having cake, blah, 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 blah. Are you emceeing and feeling it and putting your, this is something that's new to me, and we'll get into it, I guess, when we talk about the books, but I always thought I was really good at my job, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you think you are delivering this, really great emotional delivery of something, and then you hear yourself back and you're like, oh wow, I sounded really flat on that. That wasn't really the delivery I was after. So I'm always looking to improve, and there's just always something to learn as far as I'm concerned, because I think I make a lot of mistakes too.
Well, it goes back to baseball, where batters will record themselves batting to see how they interact with the different types of pitches. It's the same thing for a DJ. You have to record yourself. It can't always be the eyes on the audience and how they're reacting. It's about how you're mixing, how you're interacting too. Love it.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about you, but I am a very professional person. I'm a workaholic. I can speak about emotions, but I'm not one to really show emotions, especially at a wedding. I don't want to cry at every wedding because my dad isn't here anymore, but the bride is going to dance with her dad. I can't cry every time. So I've really built this emotional wall that I really just realized in the process of book writing that I need to break that wall down. I need to make more of an emotional connection from an MC delivery, not just through my musical choices, not just because I'm trying to make all these transitions memorable, but because I feel the words that I'm saying, so that the people that are listening can feel the words that I'm saying. Because, I'm a singer. There's times when I think I'm emoting. I go back and look at a video and I'm like, wow, dude, that was boring. So that's kind of how we can get, and we do this, night after night, weekend after weekend. We think we're doing the same high energy pitch, not pitch, but spiel every time. And sometimes we're flat. Sometimes we're lacking emotional connection, and we don't know what we don't know. So that's where I'm at, is trying to make it more feeling, more wow, more everything.
I think that comes in your professionalism, that you want to get better. If you didn't care, you wouldn't do any of these things. And I think that that's part of being a professional DJ, to get better. So are couples that you're involved with, are they curating their own playlists now, or are they you're walking them through a lot of the song selections?
So this is a new process for me. I have the simple CRM, and they've got multiple ways to curate their music with me. So during our initial meeting, we'll get the vibe going, wedding classic wedding vibe, club wedding vibe, hybrid, what do you want? So we get that. Then we let them into the portal. Inside the portal now, they can do two or three different things. They can write every song in and every artist in. They can leave it blank. They can leave the whole thing up to me after giving me 5 songs or artists that they like. But then also we have the Spotify import tool, which is really cool because you don't even have to build a playlist anymore. You can go into Spotify. There's a million pre-made wedding playlists, dinner playlists, cocktail playlists, reception playlists. But not only can you steal somebody else's entire playlist and just be like, hey, I like this vibe. You don't have to do every song, but this is what we like. But within each of those Spotify playlists, you can export the songs you do like into a brand new playlist and then give me that playlist inside Simple. And then inside Simple, I go into Crate Hackers, and Crate Hackers picks all of those songs through my hard drive and imports them into a brand new playlist. And then one little button, and I export it over to Virtual DJ, and bam, there's all my music. And I will tell you, from my old school way of putting every song together and pre-making, oh my God, I've come a long way. So 2 options for my couples: do as much or as little work as you want. Leave the rest up to me. Don't tell me what song to mix into what. Don't tell me when to come in and out of a song during the reception part of the night. You're hiring me for a reason, and my creative abilities are part of this process too. So choose all the music you want. Let me do the rest.
Love it. Yeah, technology has come a long way, and the tools are there now too. I think that has a lot to do with it. So just to kind of close this part out, what are some of the strategies you're using to make couples feel heard and understood, connecting with them, basically?
I mean, that's literally my specialty. It really just comes natural to me because you got to come from a place of authenticity to begin with, to really see and hear your couples. Some of my couples come from all over the spectrum of sexualities, and God, I can't even think of the word. Whether they're straight, binary, male, female, he, she, they, whatever they are, we kind of get that out in the beginning. What are your pronouns? If people are still doing that kind of thing, they tell me what they want to be known as. So we start there, and even if a couple presents as straight, sometimes she is they or he is they. And if you don't ask, you're not going to make that initial connection, which really allows you to see who they want to be known as. And that's important to a lot of my couples. So sitting down for these initial meetings, whether it's just like this, and allowing them to do the talking, allow them to tell you what you want. And then coming in at the end with like, do you have any questions? And then allowing me to like, blah, 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 about all of the lighting and the technology and the mixing and blah, blah, blah. But it sounds kind of silly, like everybody says, what is your wedding vision? But like, you really want to, how do you see your day? What is the vibe? What is the mood? Like, we got to ask the right questions. Who's going to be there? Are you looking to have a rager, and are you inviting the right people to have a rager? Or are you inviting all friends and family and they're kind of older and they may or may not hit the dance floor? So maybe these two things aren't like connecting. And I'm using my experience and expertise to like guide the conversation and allowing them for me to interject, kind of like to be like, hey, I've been there, done that. This is why this will work or won't work. And that's where they know. Not just hiring a DJ who's going to hit buttons. This person listens and cares. And I do care because it's my reputation, because I work for myself, because this review at the end of the day that I'm working so hard for is like money in the bank. It's getting that next couple to see they can trust me. I'm going to listen to them. And I think that's my biggest bragging right, is my couples always feel seen and heard. And it's not even something I've ever thought about like having to make sure I do. I'm part of a community where some people know and some people don't, whether you're straight, you're gay, or whatever, and there's never any assumptions to be made anymore. So ask the questions, get the right answers, and then do the work.
I really like how you say making that connection with them before the vision, before the details, getting to know your couples more on a personal level than what's your wedding going to be about. Because like you say, at the end of the day, if you're making that connection, even if God forbid you mess something up, if you have that connection, they're going to understand the situation and move forward. That not every wedding's perfect.
Not every wedding is perfect. You got that right.
Wedding DJs and wedding pros, are you ready to elevate your expertise and keep the dance floor packed? Introducing the Wedding Music Letter, your weekly email written by me, Matthew Campbell, packed with exclusive insights and inspiration. Every Wednesday, I deliver curated playlists, deep dives into wedding and music industries, and practical tips on topics like science of creating a playlist, managing decibel levels, and crafting unforgettable parent dances. Stay informed, stay inspired. Subscribe to the Wedding Music Letter and bring the best music moments to life at every wedding. Sign up today at weddingmusicletter.com. The Wedding Music Letter, expert insights every Wednesday straight to your inbox at weddingmusicletter.com. Now back to the show. So let's put all that aside and let's talk about your upcoming book series. Why a series and not a single book?
Well, that's a question I am asking myself every day. What started in a really young age to be an author was me writing fiction books, and I read a ton of books. So I always knew there was a book in here. I never knew what the book was, and I'm a spiritual person, and I like to pray, and I would like to say, how can I help people? What do I have to offer? What is my gift to give? Decided that making magic moments for people and making them feel seen and heard is a gift. And allowing people to have the power to make decisions on the biggest day of their lives and guide them with the knowledge that I have became the first book. But then that book, I went to edit it, and the first edit came back, and I was like, this is so boring. And I scrapped the entire first book. I wrote it with as much thought and detail as I could, and I was like, this book is going to be 400 pages. So what I did was I took some of the stuff from each chapter that seemed like, okay, this is a little bit extra. If they want this, let's put it over here. And what became all of this extra information was now labeled a toolkit, not a workbook, because nobody really likes to work, right? It's a toolkit because these are the tools whoever's reading that book is going to need to build on what you're reading. So it's called It's Giving Royal AF, the wedding guidebook, the badass wedding guidebook for couples who rule, and then there's the wedding alchemist toolkit. So they go together as like a companion and original guidebook to really give couples the power to plan their wedding, DJs the power to help their couples plan the wedding, planners the power to help the couples plan the wedding, officiants the gift to give their couples before they go into the marriage, this guidebook. And then I thought to myself, well, even though I've got this book and this toolkit, there's more. What about the entire engagement process? So then that became the Fiancé Files, this engagement boot camp where I'm going to put couples through the ringer. It's the boot camp is either going to lead to I do or I don't. So now we've got engagement. Now we've got a wedding guide. Now we have the toolkit. But I'm part of the gay community, so now we need the gay wedding guide because now there's all this other stuff that might be a little bit too much for the original guide. So now we got the gay guide. And God, Matt, I wish it would stop there, but no, it doesn't. There's more. What if they break up? What if the engagement boot camp leads to I don't? Then what? I don't want this person or couple to be left feeling like, oh, well, this just broke up my relationship. Now what? Well, that's where this It's Giving Single AF book comes in, because that's been the last 5 years of my life. Lots of experience, situationships, red flags. I've got all the dirt, right? So if it leads to I don't, the It's Giving Single AF book has to exist, because this is a choose your own adventure at this point. If you decide at the end of the engagement boot camp that you're saying I do, your next book is the It's Giving Royal AF Wedding Guide book with the companion book or the gay book, or you're single now. Hey, being single is amazing if you just shift your perspective. So it's not only a series of books, there's games. There's affirmations, there's a board game, there's a card game, there's merch. It is a explosion of every idea from one book to the next. All of the branding is exploding in my mind. The opportunities to help these couples, like, oh my God, I'm so excited to launch this because it's like my gift. Sorry, I'm so excited.
Are you planning on releasing one at a time? Or are you planning on releasing it all to the world at the same time?
Neither. So initially I had bought this 3-book series. So the 3 books that are coming out first, if I could, oh my God, Matt. Okay, so I just went away this weekend. I sent out my editing again after I rewrote the entire book to the editor. It came back. I'm reading it. My mother's passed away, but I'm in this beautiful Battleship Cove in Fall River, and I'm like kind of in my feelings about this being like my old stomping grounds, and I was emotional. And as a non-emotional person, reading this book now as an editor, the author, and now I'm reading it, but I become the bride. This is the first time for me. So now this book has an additional chapter because, well, no, not just I have to go back in as I'm editing it for the last and final time, giving it one last thought from the bride's perspective. And then you would think that, editing would stop there, but no. Something brand new happened after 16 years of being in business. Something brand new happened that needs to be in the book. And it happened the day after I had the epiphany that I needed it to not only ride from the bride's perspective, and I'm late now on this edit getting to the deadline, but now I had a wedding cancel on me. And so now I was just bawling my eyes out the day before. I'm the bride in my mind. I'm crying. I'm having these moments. I'm about to walk into my reception. The next day, I haven't even gotten over all the feelings I'm feeling, and bam, the wedding cancels. I'm devastated for the couple because now they're calling me, they're calling the limo, they're calling the officiant, they're calling their friends and family, they're canceling. This is huge, huge. After having written the book about being engaged, the engagement process and getting through all being engaged, now I've walked myself through the entire process of getting myself to the wedding, to the reception entrance, and bam, her whole dream ends. His whole dream ends. They were a straight couple. So I'm devastated. And now, brand new chapter to end the book. What if you don't make it to the altar? And I've been crying all day. I've been crying since Thursday. Not only is my book not done yet, but now there's another freaking chapter to write. And it's so important.
I could see you being enthralled in that and then that just happening. And then, yeah, the letdown of it, no matter what the reason is. It could be as somebody gets sick or something. It doesn't have to be tragic.
I didn't even ask. Honest, I am more than curious about what happened, obviously. Like, I would love to know. But I know they're going to have questions for me later. I know they might ask me about a refund. We're going to revisit the contract. I'm going to be human about it. I'm going to make considerations. Like, not only did I lose the entire day, I can't rebook it. I can't make, more money than I was going to make that day, which is always a possibility. If somebody buys my lowest package, that I'm losing up to $1,000 if somebody books my higher package. So I have to navigate how I'm going to move forward with this as a business person, as a human, as an author, consideration for everybody and everything, which is probably me running to Chat GPT asking it what I should do.
As a starting point anyway.
I know in my heart what I think is right. But from a business perspective, and knowing that money matters to me now more than ever, because once November hits, we have our slow season where we have to, build our nest egg now, and then later on we rely on this to get us through all the cancellation. Well, we haven't had a lot of snow in Connecticut, but we do have to have this money. So there are ways to go about, maybe offering a photo booth in the future, offering something that doesn't cost me a day or, $2,500 or whatever the cost may be. It's an important situation to navigate. I'm sure other people have been through it and maybe they have more information, and I'm always open to, what's been done before, and I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel when somebody cancels the day of. I know contracts are there for a reason, but also, I don't want to be lied to. I don't want them to give me some sob story that pulls at my heartstrings and then also pulls the money out of my pocket over to them.
Yeah, it's the reason. I was going to say that I remember one time where I was booked for a show and then they canceled with me, but then they went and hired a band, and I'm like, okay, just something's wrong with that. And it really depends on the reason.
Can I tell you that just happened to me? I got a call at the last minute to do a wedding. And they said they had a band and they just needed me for 2 hours. And so I was like, sure, I give you a really good discount. It was on a Thursday anyway. And I went and did the wedding and I posted about it. And then I got a call from somebody who said, oh my God, that was my couple and they canceled on me. And I'm like, oh my God, I had no backstory. I just got a call at the last minute to be a DJ. So I don't know how they navigated that situation or what their contract says or what happened there, but that's a weird situation to be in as well. That I do remember a couple canceled me once, and then I saw my friend DJ the wedding, and I was like, oh, but I just attributed it to, you know what? That person was a better fit for them on that day, and neither will I hold my friend, responsible for how I feel about them being chosen over me. It's not their fault. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of all my friends who are successful. And I wasn't mad at the couple for letting me know that I wasn't the right fit for them after we had already signed a contract. In my opinion, since I've never been married, I want what I want on my wedding day, and maybe I will change my mind after about a vendor. And it's never personal, really hard feelings, just about what I want. And so in my mind, it's about what the couple wants, and so I do feel bad for my friend who feels slighted. But I didn't know, and there's nothing I can do, and they're not holding it against me, so that's good.
Yeah,
it's not my fault.
Getting back to the books, what would you say makes them different? Is it the different aspects of the wedding, like you're saying, the planning, and then the booking part of it, and then the afterwards? How many books are there? I guess I should ask that.
So there are 3 books and 2 wedding planners, 2 wedding guides. 3 of them will be out this year, God willing. I have my final edits, they're overdue, but again, all this epiphany and stuff is more important than the deadline. I'd rather push it back. 3 books are supposed to be due this year, and I'm supposed to be, I am speaking at the Wedding MBA about AI and branding and merging the 2 to have a brand voice. So 3 of them should be available by November, and I'm very excited because then I get to speak to a whole entire audience of wedding and meeting planners and DJs and wedding people, and I really, really, really want to get my books in their hands. I'm not afraid of anybody being... I don't know, me stepping on their territory because I wrote about certain things, literally trying to help the industry elevate. And the other 2 books will be out next year. It is really a process that I had no idea what I was getting into or how long it would actually take. I'm like, oh, I have all these voice notes. I'm going to drop my voice notes. We're going to organize them and get rid of the But it's more of I don't want to put out a book just to put out a book. The book This is such an intensive process that there's no point in rushing. I don't want to make a second edition next year. I know there's going to be more information coming out, yes. But maybe 5 years we'll revise some things or something, but it has taken me all of this time to do these brain dumps, and every time I read it, there's more, or I'm sleeping and I wake up and there's more, or I go to work and something happens and there's more. So these books can literally never be finished being written, and that's the problem, is if I wait for them to be perfect, they're never going to come out, but at the same time, they're my heart and my soul and my babies, and it's time. It really is time for these books to come out, so, looking forward to getting reviews and seeing what people think. Looking forward to helping a lot of people with these books.
I think too that, if you have the books at Wedding MBA, then you can hand some out to people that you respect, and then hopefully get those reviews as well on Amazon and wherever else, to help push the envelope and get more sales. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the updates. I have a planner for couples and DJs as well for music, and everybody asks, well, when was the last time it was released? It's like, how much does music change year? It doesn't change that. I'm not spending 6 weeks every single year, 2 months to update these books. It's just not going to happen. So
honestly,
that's inspiration for you.
I'll tell you what, I thought this was so easy because I'm a professional wedding and meeting planner and DJ, and I'm just dumping information out of my brain. There's nothing really emotional about it until you're reading it and you're like, oh my God. And then you're like, certain things matter and certain things don't matter. Not everything has to be emotional. I'm not trying to be a tearjerker. It's a wedding planning guide. These books are different because I am coming at you from the perspective of somebody who's very experienced and open-minded and is offering you kind of like best friend advice. I'm giving you red flags I've seen in my own experience. I'm offering you green flags for your vendors. I'm showing you what to look for, what questions to ask. I'm showing you what's important and what's not according to your budget. We're really picking out what matters to our couples, whoever's reading this book, and we are making sure they get what they want. And we are not letting them be guilted or coerced or manipulated into doing things traditionally that they might not want to do, eliminating dances and maybe like even giving them words to say that like soften the blow, so to speak. So like if they don't have a wedding party or they don't want to do a parent dance or, they just want to eliminate a lot of things, whatever it is that they're choosing to do, I'm giving them permission that maybe they don't know that they can say no. A lot of people think they have to do what it's expected of them, and they're not really able to personalize the wedding as the way that they want. So I'm being like their best friend, their planner, their hype person. I'm giving them everything I know from the ceremony to the end. I'm giving them things to think about with legal documents, honeymoons, and then the other book with the engagement process. I'm letting them know like what each person that if they do invite a wedding party, what each person is expected of. And I'm doing things a little bit differently, like, sending this person an invitation and asking them to sign that they're committed to spending this time and this money, and they understand what's expected of them. And they're saying, yes, I can do this. I can afford this time-wise, financially, all of this. And how to soften the blow for them if somebody says no. Because I think people are really excited about these days and these moments, and they don't consider that other people have lives. And while they may be excited for them, they don't really want to be a bridesmaid or a groomsman or part of the wedding party. And feelings are going to get hurt. If people are paying, they might think that they owe that person something. So why this book is different is it's putting the power in the hands of the couple to hire who they want, do the traditions or not do the traditions that they want. It's allowing them to bond as a couple. Oh my God, I didn't even mention. I'm helping them build a foundation as a couple. Most importantly, we're walking them through the hard conversations. We're giving them challenges. We're giving them rewards. It's almost gamified in a way so that each step builds on something, not only toward the wedding day and the altar, but what it's going to take to have this solid relationship and foundation after you're married, which is more important than the wedding itself. Like the dress matters, yeah, the songs matter, yeah. But this person matters after the fact. They're going to snore, they're going to be messy, they're going to maybe cause you some financial hardship. So let's talk about all of it.
One little tidbit I'll take out of that too is, one of our most popular song lists was mother-daughter songs. And, like you were saying, maybe dad's passed, maybe he can't make it. And the bride wants to dance with her mother. And I can't tell you, it goes beyond that. Like you're saying, the emotional, is that okay? And you're giving them that permission to say, yes, it is okay to do this in certain scenarios, to have the wedding that you want. And it sounds like you're giving them that permission to say, yes, it doesn't have to be the cookie cutter wedding that was 30 years ago.
I think that's why the conversations are important. And then you start from there. You listen, you learn, and then you strategize. How are you going to make this epic?
So just to kind of close out, is there something that we missed that you want to share?
I would like to say that my ambitions are sometimes very, very time consuming, and that while it's exciting to speak at conferences and to say there's a series of books coming out and that I'm living my passions and being a traveling DJ, that like there are parts of my life that suffer, and I never want to just put it out there that everything's perfect. I would say that, a lot of my personal relationships suffer. I am single, but that's because I do dedicate my time to doing things that have more of a return for me. Like they're more fulfilling. There's less emotional roller coaster rides. But so I do a lot in my social media life talk about all of these cool things that are exciting. Like, maybe I was hired for Miami for a fashion show and I got to model in New York Fashion Week. These are cool things, but I am tired. I'm having insomnia from like traveling coast to coast. My body hurts. There's people who are like, I thought we were going to hang out. You're always blowing me off. So the work-life balance is a struggle. And I just want to end with like all of these things that I'm doing, from writing a seminar to writing a book to writing 5 books, means I'm not out talking to my friends and hanging out and going to parties and dating and like living, I am living my best life, but to an extent, my love life is suffering. I don't see my kids a whole lot, and I'm trying to be a really good example, but I don't want to just glamorize everything, Matt, because I know a lot of us have like this really amazing social appearance, right? Like if you go to my social media, I'm here, I'm there, I'm doing this and that, but I am crying. I'm crying a lot. And I am really, through this process, learning to become more emotional again and breaking down that wall, which will then allow me to connect in a stronger sense with my readers and in a stronger sense with my couples, and, be more human and allow myself to cry more and feel more and not shut all that off just because it sucks sometimes and it hurts. And that's something I'm learning through this weekend with the book and the couple not breaking up. I don't even know if they broke up, but I'm a work in progress, and don't always just think what you see on social media is all there is to see, because, not everybody's broadcasting the bad stuff. So that's it.
Nobody's really broadcasting that. And I appreciate your authenticity. And, just like what you said, we all see the good stuff. I can't tell you how many family members say, you're doing a great job. I see you posting all the time. Yes, because I'm working all the time.
It might be different for us, right, though, because we just love what we do, and we love putting the time and energy into something that gives us a return. Like watching people be happy is joy for me. I don't have a big family. I don't have celebrations. I don't have friends getting married. These moments fill my cup, and that's why I love going to work.
I think that's a great way to close out. So where can listeners connect with you and find you?
I'm all over the place. royalbeatsdjs.com is my website, and from there you can see my Facebook. I don't even post on my Facebook business page, to be honest with you, because I'm too busy on Instagram. I'm always posting live stories at DJ Stephanie Stardust on Instagram, and that's pretty much it. I mean, all my links are there. Linktree, so you can get to my Mixcloud, my SoundCloud, and hear what my neurodivergent brain sounds like when I'm mixing music. Yeah, so the usual places.
Well, if anybody gives an AF about your upcoming books, make sure they check you out.
Yes, please.
And I'm definitely going to, because Wedding MBA's in Las Vegas, that's where I live, so I will be there. So we'll definitely catch up at one point, and looking forward to your books and wishing you, the best of luck finishing them in a short amount of time.
Thank you. It's the prayer I need.
For sure. So everybody stay tuned for next week for another episode of the Wedding Songs Podcast. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Wedding Songs Podcast. Never miss a future episode. Subscribe today to our podcast. Follow us on Facebook at My Wedding Songs and send us a message about playlists you would like covered.